Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Guys, welcome back to the show for the people that understand that facts divided by feelings equals failure. I'm Cliff, I'm your host, and I got big bad Dave Anderson, the big bad Viking, in with me again. And if you're watching, you can see another gentleman that we will get to in a second. But before we do, yep, you know the drill. Got a little housekeeping to do. If you want to help us out, get these words out, get these truths out, you can follow me at Savagely Loud on Instagram is where I'm most active. And on that page, you're going to find two links. One of the links is to a Savagely Loud podcast page on Instagram. If you could please follow us there too, it would greatly help increase the footprint of the show. And let's be honest, it may just be end up being my backup page when they shut the other one down. The other link you're going to find is a simple link tree. Anywhere you want to hear my rants or see my bullshit, you can find it there easy peasy. Outside of that, Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe. And you can email us into at savagelyloud@gmail.com if you want to guarantee that we see your communication. That's the way to do it. The DMs are not. Last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and share the material. Don't forget to rate and review the shows, because rating and reviewing the shows on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify really does an immense amount of help for us getting the show to break through the algorithm. And that's what we need in order to get people woke up, in order to get people thinking, get people to be more inquisitive and access that end of their brain. We're going to need to break into the algorithm, and you can help us out with that. We ask you, please do so. That all being said, big bad Dave Anderson, the Viking. How we doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, brother, man. It's just another beautiful day in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. I'm trying to...
As you're all the way in the back.
I got a little too warm.
Well, I thought it's usually cold in your basement.
Yeah, it's fucking cold down here, man. Just like my heart. Let everybody know where they can find you, Dave.
That's good. You all can find me on social media at The Hammer Drops. I'm heavily active over there on Facebook and Instagram. While you're there, don't forget to follow, like, and share the content. And don't forget, over on YouTube for the Savagely Loud podcast, don't forget to subscribe there, like, share, and leave some comments on some of the videos. It really helps with the algorithms over there as well. If you want to get in touch with me, email me at david@thehammerdrops.com is the best way to get a hold of me.
And you can find him on OnlyFans at cousinsonly.
No, it's Feet Finder. Feet Finder. Come on.
Feet Finder. No, yeah, Feet Finder. That seems pretty innocent, you know, whatever. Nobody wants to look at your ugly ass
they're
crow
not
feet, though.
Feet. I'm not showing you my feet.
Like I said, we've got another guy with us. Super exciting. We're going to have a great show. It's going to be unlike any show that we've done before, because we have our personal friend, Troy Lillie, with us. How we doing today, brother?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing? I'm glad to be here.
Zero
Absolutely.
complaints. Thanks for being here, dude.
Here, man.
Thanks for inviting me, for sure.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at my name, Troy Lillie, on Facebook. I do a lot over there. And then most of my work and stuff that I post kind of blends over is from the Motley Croc Show on Instagram. You can also find us on the Discovery Channel. I'm a host of one of the hosts of the Lost Monster Files on Discovery or HBO Max or anywhere you get your streaming network stuff. So you can find me at any one of those platforms and look me up there and reach out and tell me who you are and say what's up.
Yeah. And you know what's great about when you say that, when you say, hey, why don't you reach out and say what's up? I'll say, you actually do that. Like, people will, you'll actually talk to people. You're not one of these people that I got this going on and that going on. I'm too much better for everybody. Nah, dude,
Correct.
you're one of the realest motherfuckers I've ever met in my entire life. And that's what,
Well,
that's
thank
why
you.
I'm so proud to say we're actually friends.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are great. I think that was a really good compliment. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think we should. I think more people should understand that we work very hard to get where we are, and we're blessed in our abilities to do so. Some people don't have that chance, or they're financially strapped, or they're raising a family or doing what they want to do this, but it's very hard for them to get out and really have a voice. And we have to remember that. And so they kind of live vicariously through you why they're coming up, and that's important. And people want to help. Don't get me wrong. There's idiots that you don't want to discuss things with, but as a rule, there's people just trying to come up, man, just really trying to ask questions and learn, especially in the field that I'm in.
That's truly a beautiful thing that you just said, really honestly, because That's a lot of the way I do my things. Like when I'm deciding to get into something, I actually take that into account. How many people out there, like if I'm contemplating, maybe I want to get into this, it's kind of interesting. I think about how many people out there would really want to get into that and then do that, but can't do that. So if that helps me, it helps aid in my decision making process, whether or not I'm going to do something, because I don't want to disrespect all the people that want to do it and can't do it by half-assing it. So as soon as I dive into something, I have to dive all the way in, because I understand that there is millions upon millions upon millions of people that really wish, and my shoes are not big shoes to fill. I'm not living the fucking life of the rich, rich and famous, but there are millions of people that wish they were in my shoes. So I have to honor that, because I've gotten to this point where I can do the things that I can do, go the places I can go, say the things that I can say. I have to honor that struggle that they don't get to take part in, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And to add to that, a lot of people will come to me and be like, "You live my dream life, and I want to do what you do," and they don't realize that it's taken me, almost 30 years to accomplish. I'm no spring chicken, but you know, I've been doing it a long time, and it doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of famine before feast, a lot. And I think a lot of days now people want to put the cart before the horse, and that doesn't work. You've got to crawl, walk, and then you're able to jog and then run. And everybody wants to take off running. And sometimes that happens for people. People who have deep pockets, they can kind of buy their way to the top. That happens a lot. I mean, I see that, but it doesn't last long. It's like lighting a match. It's really big and bold, but it burns out. And so it's a slow process, as both of you know.
Yeah.
Just me knowing both of you and talking to both of your beginnings, like knowing what you've done and putting yourself together. And really, guys, talking to the audience when I say this, what it comes down to is building yourself, find what you love and start it. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, figure it out, right? Buy your one piece that you need, buy your microphone if you want to talk, or if you want to do cool videos about the art that you do, buy a little area or get a little area and put a backdrop in with your artwork and start talking about it. And who cares if it has 3 likes or whatever?
Right.
It's therapy for you, right?
Yeah.
You're showing your friends, your family, and it's a slow grow. You're watering that plant. And I think that that's really where it starts. A lot of people don't realize that, and I started as a kid. I knew what I wanted to do, and so I started it, and that's where it starts. And it took me this long to get where I'm at,
Yeah. Yeah, it takes you at least 10 years to become an overnight success, and people don't, they always want to skip the struggle. So like you just said, people, there are some people that land on the top, but because they can buy their way there, but it never lasts very long, because here's
No
the thing
experience.
that yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I was going to touch on, is like, people don't understand that the process to get to the top is everything you need in order to learn how to handle being on the top. All these people that skip the experience, skip the learning process, and then land on the top, it fizzles and fades super quickly, because they haven't learned any of the lessons that they needed in order to be able to deal with being in that position. It's a wild.
100%. I think if you haven't failed multiple times, you ain't learning. I mean,
Yeah.
every failure I've ever had sucked ass, but you got to fail, and then you look back, and sometimes you feel like it was a waste of time, but in the long run, it really wasn't.
No.
But the older we get, the more we're like, fuck, we can't be failing too much more.
Right.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry, bud.
No, you're all fine, man. I'm a firm believer in that. Like, everything, essentially, whatever happens in your past and in your life makes you who you are today. So if you don't have those failures, you're not going to know how to come out of them. And then once that failure happens, that's what crushes many people, and they just give up at that point. But that's the point where you got to dig the heels in and just fucking keep going.
Yeah.
Because once you give up, that's it. Then do you want to?
Man, I couldn't agree more with that. Couldn't agree more. And
do you want to be remembered as the guy that failed, or do you want to be remembered the guy that can persevere through failure to get to where you're at now?
yeah, you better learn to stand alone in a lot of what you do, because people aren't going to be there. They're just not. You've got to select few family members, and even some family members are just shit. I know that. And some of your picked family, your friends, the people that you hold close, some of them too, they're just going to abandon you, because they're not going where you're going. And unfortunately, that happens to a lot of people, and then they give up. And that's where you fuck up right there. That's exactly where you mess the whole thing up, is giving up. Just keep moving forward, man. Even if you got to go alone. Yeah, I really believe that. So I'm a firm belief. But if you find a good core of people that support you and help do what you do, And a big fall that I see a lot of people do is jealousy and envy. And I think
Yes.
I've been guilty of that as a young person. Like, God, I've been working for so hard at this, and here comes Johnny come lately, and he's got all the money in the world, and he goes and does all this and buys all this and makes a name for himself. Well, they're gone now. Some of them are dead. But at the end of the day, man, it's because there was no boot camp of life for them. I think it's very similar to the military, man. They put you in boot camp, they build you up, they make you a soldier or whatever, airman, Marine, whatever, and then you go out and by all your trials and tribulations, you become the man you are.
Yeah.
But you can't pick somebody that's played, Xbox and throw them in the middle of war and expect them to know what to do. You're not going to get it. You have to have that life experience. And I remember I was training years ago, training I used to go to the gym, and I spent a lot of time in the gym when I was in my 20s. And one of the guys that worked with me, he's like, man, you got to hurt. And he told me this. I'll never forget this. He said, I can sit here and tell you how hard I can punch you in the face. But until I punch you in the face, you're going to have no idea how hard I can hit you. You can only fathom it. And I remember thinking, man, he goes, that's life, my friend. And as soon as you get that wrapped around your head, that's life. So you better learn to take the hits and fall hard and get back up and keep going. Because I can say, don't do that because you're going to fail. And you're like, whatever. But when you fail and you hurt and you've lost it, when someone says to you, be very careful, I've done it, you're like, me too. You know now because you've experienced it. It's not just a word. And unfortunately, that's where it's at. In my industry, I do a lot in entertainment, obviously. I love music. Music's a very big part of my life. And I work mainly with a lot of exotic animals and animals that people won't work with or can't or terrified of, and yes, there's a lot of people out there who work with bears and tigers. I have really good friends with that. I have a really good friend named Lauren. She works with her and her elephant. That's an amazing duo. They grew up together. I have nothing but praise for her. She's awesome. She takes a lot of heat from morons on the internet that really don't know what they're talking about because they read some cereal box about something, and so I give that props to that. So, but there are a lot of people in my industry that kind of come up and then they kind of, in a sense, almost abuse the animal to make a video. Like when you see people harassing animals to look how cool they are, that animal's under stress. You have to picture yourself as a person in somewhere you're unfamiliar with and someone's shoving you around and you don't know if you're going to get robbed, beaten, killed, or raped. You just don't know. So there's a lot of that going on. And then there's some really good animal people out there that really do a lot. So my industry is very, very tough to navigate. And you have to deal a lot with sour grapes.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that will go behind your back and say all kinds of stuff, right? And it's usually the people, if you look their names up and you read about them, you'll see that they were former drug addicts, or they're a thief, or they were caught stealing, or they smuggled animals, or they're just a dirty person. They cheat on their family. They abuse their kids. They're molesters. I mean, this is real, okay? Yeah. These are the type of people that will do that. And then you have there's some really high-end people I work with in the animal industry that are pretty silent about stuff. They take a lot of bullshit that people throw them and they never retaliate, right?
Yeah.
And I sent you some stuff the other night, Cliff, about that guy that wrote that song, the one that says, "I don't explain." If you don't feel that song, right? If you don't feel that song, dude, you just don't get it. And that guy, what he wrote there is so true to life, at least in my experience, that I've taken that over and over. And some of these people are, that do it are in positions that they shouldn't be in, and they spread these things. But you'll find the good core people will be like, Cliff is a good guy. Dave's a great guy. Troy's a cool dude. They know you other than a persona, right? And they really get to understand you. And that's the problem. Misinterpreted actions or jealousy causes people to cause a wave of shit. And let's just face it, negative energy travels faster than pure energy.
Yeah.
That always does. If you turn on the news and they're like, oh, Dave gave 100 presents to children tonight, from, the Hammer Drops has supported this and did this, people are going to go, cool. Tonight, Dave blew up a Walmart, killed 20 children.
Yeah.
Right? It's everywhere. Let's look what this guy did, and Troy's part of it, and Savage, and they did this instead of the good stuff. And unfortunately, the good stuff could travel more, but it doesn't. So if you're doing good stuff, it's going to take you longer to get there than if you're a condescending little POS. Well, I'm just telling you, that's my experience in life, and I'm in my 50s, and that's what I've learned. Yeah. So my next 50 years before I die, I hope I'll learn a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I'm 43 and I've learned the exact same lessons. And to touch on your friend, the what was her name, Lauren, the elephant lady.
Yep. Lauren, yeah,
I,
she's
I
she
I've
has the elephant lady.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like because
yeah, she does.
but
Her handle's the silky elephant. I suggest you guys look her up. Wonderful person. Wonderful person.
well, you sent me a video because somebody was chastising her in the comments, and you sent me a video, and because I hadn't heard of her when we were talking,
Right.
and then once you sent me the video, I was like, oh, I know this woman, and I got turned on to her very recently. I saw a video where I thought she was standing in front of a giant rock.
Right.
I wasn't even paying attention, right? I was just watching this woman, and she was talking, and she's a very nice. She knows how to talk, and she captivates the audience. And then all of a sudden, she climbs up on this giant rock, and then the fucking giant rock stood up. I was like, "Holy shit, it's an elephant!"
Yep.
I went into the comments on that, and there were people in the comments just being absolute terrible fucking people. And from my aspect of it, my angle at this was, hold on a second. How are you being so horrible? You can't establish that kind of relationship with an animal that hates you, and that animal will hate you if you mistreat it in any way. Animals feel your feelings. They work on your vibes. That elephant would never cooperate like that if she was so abusive. So
100%, and I could be wrong, and I'm definitely going to send this over to her, but I'm pretty sure that the elephant is older than her. That elephant is like that's their sisters. Okay. That elephant has been around since she was born. And so they grew up together. So you have to understand elephants live a very long time, and they grew up together, and they know each other very well. And she had talked to me a few times about, challenges that she went through, and, quote unquote, the joke sibling rivalry, or whatever. But that woman has such a connection with that animal. That animal is not lonely. I mean, she has camels, donkeys, dogs. Her son's out there all the time. Her dad is one of the coolest people that I've met in a long time in the animal world. One of the coolest, straight to the point, really neat guy. He talked about that and the battles that they fight. And she didn't really get mad at me, but she got irritated one time at something I posted. I posted that person over in India, somewhere in Asia, with a tiger in a circus, and they just clearly abused this animal. Now her background is coming from those shows, traveling shows. She does a lot of the sky work where she's up in the trees and she spins down on silk and then flips upside down. I mean, her athletic ability is off the chain. I mean, she's extremely talented, and to me, I think she's underrated. I think that people don't realize the talent she has. I'm sorry, they just don't, because she's not an arrogant, pompous. She's just not, and that's what makes her perfect. But at the end of the day, she was like, oh man, that's so hard to fight when you do that. But I want to clarify, what I put up is not what happens in America. It's not American animal shows. Not that there aren't dirtbags that do stuff, but some of the circuses are literally put down, and these animals, they work the same as the people. They're not treated like shit or any of that type of stuff. I know sometimes it appears that way, and I'm going to get some hate for this. So are you. Sometimes it appears that way when you're training animals, and you have to understand the animal. You have to understand people are anthropomorphic. They want to take their emotion and they want to put it on an animal. Animals don't think the same way a human would. We're very emotional thinkers. We're very, I don't want to offend, or I want to hurt. When a tiger's reprimanding another tiger, he beats its ass. Understand?
Yeah.
Not that humans do that, but there's a way you have to hold your ground, and they have to have a clear understanding, because you're dealing with an animal that can kill you. And if there wasn't people in this world that worked with bears, tigers, crocodiles, elephants, giraffes, cheetah, I'll go on and on. Yeah. These animals would be gone, because most of the countries that they live in, they've been wiped the fuck out because of poverty. And everybody wants to blame this country. Oh, well, they're eating all these tortoises. We need to shut them down. The simplest way to shut them down is to educate them and send money over there. You want to do charity work? Send money so they can feed their families. Teach them how to protect the animals and pay them to do it. It's a simple thing. But nobody wants to do that. They want to breed hatred. Let's shoot them down. Let's get them. Let's do this. Because a lot of these people that kill these animals, such as like the radiated tortoise, in which I have some, and they're beautiful animals. Some of those animals are being eaten because they're starving to death and they have families.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, they're not just like, oh, I'm going to do this. Or someone goes, hey, I'll give you 10,000 American if you get me 5 of those from the wild. And they're thinking $10,000 over there, American money.
Yeah.
Just handing someone basically $1 million.
Yeah. You just bought them a mansion.
So they look at their
they
children, they look at their dirt floor and their kids. A couple of their children have already died. You have to put yourself in that mindset that they're trying to survive. Your body, your mind is different when you're in survival mode, right? It's different.
Right.
And so I think that that's a big thing in education. So back to Lauren, she's very good about educating and very good about talking. And so that's why I commend her and I talk with her, and she's taught me a lot about elephants. If I see somebody elephant, someone sends me, I'll say, hey, she'll say, no, that's inaccurate, or yeah, that's very cool, or that's when they're in musk, and if they're in musk, they're you see elephants killing people. But
Yeah,
like I have some videos where they're chewing on some people and throwing them around, and I labeled it the Indian toss, and I will release it. But these people were abusing this animal. It's different,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
having a better understanding about that when I did that. So working with animals is a tightrope here. It is, because everybody is on the bandwagon to attack you because they need to be turn free.
Well,
While they have a fish tank or a pet cat or dog, but everything else is,
well, that's
these animals don't matter.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
yours.
wildest thing, because like we see it every day, because I'm an animal fanatic, and I'll get into why that is, because it happened when I was a little kid. But I'm an animal fanatic, so I've got this algorithm thing going, and you see these people always bitching, like you just said, oh my God, they're hunting, they're this. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a hunter. If the shit, the world
You have
falls
to do it.
apart,
I'm not against
I will
hunting
hunt.
either.
But
I'm not against it.
I don't hunt. I hunt animals with a camera. That's my favorite thing to do, is take pictures.
Amazing.
Or just hang out with them. Like, fuck the cameras, fuck the lenses, fuck the screens. I just want to hang out with this animal. But people don't get it, is like they'll hit the internet and they'll bitch about, somebody hunting, an African tribe or something. They killed a cheetah and they killed the last rhinoceros, this and that. They didn't kill it because it was, some sort of trophy. That's what white people do in America. We pay the big money to go kill the fucking thing because it's super special. They killed it because they're starving to death. And these people that will make these videos, in the very same breath, they'll say, I would kill my fucking entire neighborhood full of people to feed my children. Yeah, but you're getting on that dude for killing a cheetah to feed his. What the fuck is happening? Meanwhile, you're on your way to the supermarket to go get your fucking beef for the week that you got fucking killed by a grocery store hitman that you didn't ever have to deal with. People are so divorced from the reality of how anything but their particular small world works.
100%. Here's a great. Let me tell a story. You got anything to say on that, Dave? Because I know you're kind of quiet about stuff, but I see you moving, so I know you got something.
Oh no, I would have to agree. I mean, and people just don't understand. Like, if it came down to it, when you have to survive, you got to do things that you have to do to survive, and that means you have to go hunting. And it's just, they just don't have that. I don't think they grasp that. I really don't. They don't grasp that idea, because everybody thinks that will never happen. But these people in those countries, it's happening there. So it's hypocrisy. You get mad at the people for doing it in their countries because they need to feed their children, feed their families, survive. But if you were put in that same position, would you be willing to do that? Because if you're not, you're going to die.
100%. The people that I'm not putting anyone down for your source of diet. Right. If you want to be a vegan, good for you. We know that there's a lot of things that you're going to have to do to be a vegan. Okay. Especially as you age, right? Because of the amount of protein you need. We're an omnivorous creature. I'm not even going to argue that. We know this already. I know that people come out with, I've got studies. It's just not true. We're omnivores. We'll eat whatever we can. If you look at your lineage, really, it has a lot to do with your ancestors, and your blood work will tell you what you predominantly ate. That's already a thing. We already know this happens. I'm not against hunting. I think if you want to hunt, I learned that when we were filming. When we were out with Discovery, they hired what's called a bear guard, because we were going to be working in a lot. I know you guys know this. I'm just reiterating stuff for the audience. That's
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
we met some really good guys. They're bear guards. Matter of fact, one of the guys' name was Ronan, and he's the original tornado hunter. He's the guy that drives into the tornadoes. They did the show. They did that movie, Twister, about him. Great guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool to spend time with him. And he said, the last thing I ever want to do is kill one of these majestic beasts. That's my last resort. That's my last resort. I will deflect anything. And then the other gentleman that we met, great guy, and he's telling me, he's like, we hunt twice a year. We go out or whatever. And he told me that. He said, what they see us on the airplane, we come in, we pick up our guns, we have our stuff, we go to hunt. And he said, what they don't understand is we have a relationship with the animal that we're about to take. And we hunt this animal. We specifically target an animal that we know is on its way out. We look for, maybe an aggressive animal that's hurting the herd, if it's elk or whatever. He explained all this. And he said the people that give us a hard time, like, I can't believe you go out there and not, why they bought into a cheeseburger of something that has just been beaten to death in a factory that they have no relationship. They don't know the poisons that's put into the animal. They don't know the antibiotics for the mass production that they need to have to eat this animal or to eat this meat. Now, obviously, I'm leaving, vegans and stuff out of this because they don't have a leg to stand on that because they're slaughtering vegetables.
Yeah.
Now,
And
at the end of the
rodents
day,
and all that shit in your farming.
to make, you kill more to farm, but
Yep.
if you get into that, they'll argue, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, he said, we have a relationship, we honor the animal, we take what we take from it, we kill it clean, and we use everything, the fur, we grind the hoof stock down. He goes, and all these people are sitting there eating their bowl of jello, where do you think that the gelatin comes from? And I knew this, I already know this, but a lot of people don't. And I'm thinking, I understand it comes from the animal. And so to me, it's like, they don't have no idea. They get on the internet, they see something, and they go after it with no experience. And I think if you're going to protest something, you need to learn all about it on that side before you do it.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in this. You're gonna, if you're an American and you're protesting anything that has to do with another country, you need to go there, and you need to live there 24 months and then come back and see how you feel about the protest. If you're going to protest hunting anywhere in the United States, in the country, you need to go do it, understand it, spend time with these people. Now, look, I'm not saying to either of you that there's an idiot hunters out there that post shit and they're
Right.
just scuzz buckets, because there's dirty mofos everywhere you go.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, if you spend a little time and understand, like, if I had to hunt, I would hunt. I choose to buy clean meat. There's a lot of Amish where I live in Florida. They support their families that way, and they're very clean about stuff, and I like that. One side of my family's, now, on my girl's side of the family, they're all farmers. They farm, they do their own meat. They have farms out in Ohio. I mean, it's what they do. They've been doing it since they live in a house that's pre-Civil War. Okay,
That's awesome.
so that to me is awesome. So to me, that's American, man. That's American remains to me. There was a band called the Highwaymen. It was made up of a bunch of those old school singers. Chris Christopherson, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon
Hell
Jennings,
yeah.
and there was a song called "American Remains," and that's exactly what it was about. And that was written back in the early '80s. So I mean, look where we are now. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to get on here and tell someone that you shouldn't honor that, because I don't want anyone thinking that I'm an animal activist. I don't think you should abuse something.
Right.
Right. If I can't house something, I don't take it. You know how many people offer me stuff? I'm like, I just don't have the room.
Right.
Otherwise, people are like, oh, I want that because I have to have it. No, just don't. You know what I mean? Right. Or they'll misinterpret what you do. And sometimes housing is different. Like, if you have this ideology that you want to train an animal, putting it in a gigantic, wide open, feral environment where it takes its own boundaries now.
Yeah.
The challenges are way different than when you're raising an animal in an understanding, right? Like, so lemurs, for example, I do really well with lemurs. My lemurs are amazing. I love them. They're one of my favorites. My kangaroo too, but I'm a reptile guy, but I love mammals and birds. And I think that you could go grab a lemur out of the wild and try to bring it down. It's going to begin to understand you and habituate, but it's never going to trust you. It's never going to love you. So taking stuff out of the wild and shit like that shouldn't do that. We have plenty of stuff that's ambassador animals that are bred in captivity that have a better understanding. And like my lemurs, they get all the enrichment they want. They're safe. They don't have to worry about being killed, burned up in a tree, fed to another animal. They get to play with me. They come in every night. They go to bed. They have their own condos for bedtime. They love their blankets. They get their children's vitamins every night. To them, it's candy. Don't say anything. And they just want to be with you. And they develop a relationship with you. And it's you're their person, right? They're 2 years old mentally. Usually that's kind of where I judge them at. They could be a little older or more, but they're very smart. They can problem solve very fast. Sometimes quicker than chimpanzees, go figure. But they're an old world prosimian, man. They're old world primates. They're prosimians, and they're amazing. And I get to spend time with them. So to me, that's an honor and a blessing. But other people get on me and like, you keep those wild animals in cages. I really don't keep them in cages. They're called enclosures. They prefer to be in that one when they want to be outside. And when they come into my enclosure, which is inside my house, they're safe. They have controlled air conditioned. They get the medications they need, the love, the play. Everybody wants to play with them. They want to play. So how bad of a life could they have?
Right.
Okay, let's turn them all loose. Let's go take everyone that's in captivity. They wouldn't know what to do. Now birds of prey are killing them. They're getting diseased. Other lemurs are beating them to death because they think it's okay to go over there. So it doesn't make any sense. So taking stuff from the wild and harvesting it like that to put in captivity to show it off, I'm not necessarily agreeing with that.
Right.
I just don't agree with that. There's enough animals in insurance colonies that if people want to get into what I do or any of my colleagues do, you better learn it. It isn't an overnight thing where I'm just going to go this and that and do this. And if you got to constantly go out and, plead about how bad things are for you, then you don't need them. I don't have any. I will eventually open a nonprofit to donate or to hire more people to do stuff. But everything I do right now is my employees and my out of pocket. I pay for everything I do out of pocket. I never go online and beg and say, go fund me. I don't do any of that shit. Because if I can't do it, I'm not doing justice to them. Then I need to get the animals to someone who can. And I will do that. Yeah. Should something happen to me, I have things in play. And I want to be very clear about that because we're going to get some bullshit about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's also.
We already are.
That's also like the hunting thing that we touched on is, like I'm not a hunter. It's not something that I feel in me. Like I said, if I need to hunt, I'll hunt, but 100%. I don't want to hunt. And I had certain perspectives, and we have to be willing to, as for the audience, we have to be willing to understand our own perspectives and then understand that there are perspectives out there that alter from that and that we have to think about that. And I'll give you the story when it comes to hunting. I had these, I was not the activist, if you will. Like, I'm not PETA. I'm not like, oh my God, hunters are shitty. I will always think trophy hunters are pieces of shit, but regular hunters that feed themselves, their families, their communities and stuff. I never thought they were a piece of shit. I just didn't understand, the process or the point of it or this and that. But I listened to Cameron Hanes talk about hunting. And Cameron Hanes, you should really look him up. He's a phenomenal human being. But I listened to Cam Hanes talk about hunting because he's a very, very avid bow hunter. And that's the other thing that I had a problem with is because I'm an archer. Like I'm a fucking champion archer. I'm a target archer. I'm not a hunting archer. My thing is precision, pinpoint precision, not hit a 10-inch pie plate. And when I found out that he was a bow hunter, I was like, fucking bow hunting, that's disgusting. Like you can't drop an animal fast enough with a bow unless you're that close and you're still praying, And he went into the whole thing. I ended up watching videos of some of his hunts and his kills, bow hunting, and they are faster than I ever thought because he is actually that good at it. But it was the conversation that he had about hunting that really shocked me. I'll be honest with you. It shocked the fuck out of me. Like I didn't understand at that point, and it took a long time for me to think about it, to understand it. But he went into and detailed the reverence that hunters have for the animal that they are stalking, the reverence that the absolute honor that they have for the animal that they're about to remove from the planet and put into their fridge. It was a rough conversation to listen to. And at first, like I on my own human primal core level, I wanted to deny it. I wanted to, no, that's bullshit. But it was once I forced myself to listen to it and put myself in somebody else's shoes with a different perspective, I totally understood it. And I would say more hunters than not out there, to offer this olive branch to my hunting audience, more hunters than not out there, they don't kill because they like to kill shit. They don't kill because the world needs less deer. They kill because they have a reverence and they want clean meat. They want to know where they want to be their own butcher. They don't want to go talk to the supermarket hitman, like you said, that's got meat packed full of poisons and all this other shit. They would rather go out here and get that. And they go through the legal terms and the legal, channels to make that happen. So I do have a respect for hunters. I don't have any respect for trophy hunters, although I will caveat and say that a lot of the trophy hunters, they take what they want from that animal and then they give it to the tribes of the land and stuff like that. I get that, but it's a very different world. And then to touch on the activists, because you get them more, obviously you get them a lot, but
all the time.
We see you motherfuckers, and here's the plain and simple reality is Troy just elaborated on. If you took all of the animals, the elephants, the seals, and the fucking dolphins, and the lemurs, and the gorillas, and all, you took all these animals out of the zoos and you put them in the fucking wild, that would fuck everything up. First and foremost, those animals are going to be the first ones to die, the most brutal death you would ever imagine. Like you just said, that lemur that was raised in captivity is going to go out there thinking it's cool to go play with the other lemurs, and they're going to gouge his eyes out. Like that's what's going to happen.
Or disease, or massive disease. Yeah, horrible stuff. Right.
Yeah,
because
it's not what you want to do.
There's a troop mentality with them, and primates are very troop based. You don't just come in. And that's the reason we don't release those things. But if a lot of people are like, well, why would you have them in the first place? I just leave them to look at. First of all, there's a lot of people that couldn't travel to these areas to learn about them. And the minute you take away the contact of an animal, right, to be able to touch, to feel it. Don't you remember? Well, I can remember this. When I was in school, I'm sure you got to. When I was in school, they would have like the science where people would bring like a snake in, or bring in like a tortoise, or bring in like a turtle, or whatever, right? And they're like, would you like to touch it? And you're like, yeah. And you feel the shell, and you're like, this is so cool, right? Which is before school got, I won't get into that, especially in this podcast, before school got corrupt and it was all about just making good little workers and, saluters. Yeah. It was about learning. Like, young kids need to be outside, need to be feeling the ground, the air, understanding the life around them, the bugs, the birds, the grass, the trees, the reptiles, the mammals, really understanding how the dynamics of being a human works before anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Communication and interaction is important, which I do with all my animals for that reason. And we work with the Great American Teach. That's a big thing I do every year. I don't charge for that. Some people do. I think that's sick that you charge to do the Great American Teach to the school, but whatever the case is. But can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good to go.
I want to make sure people are trying to like cut in on me, and it, I'm on Apple and it cuts everything off, But you got the kids, when they come up, they're like, whoa, can I touch it? I'm like, yeah. And you see their eyes. Some of them don't care. They're just, I'm going to play my Pokemon game. And they're just like, and you're like, whatever. But I don't target. I don't care. I look for the misfits. I look for the rowdy, quote unquote, ADHD kids that are usually a lot smarter than the other kids in the class. Right? They're just a lot smarter. Parents are going to hate me for this, but there's some kids out there. Not everybody's created equally. There's some dummies out there, and they're just going to be dummies forever. If the sooner you realize that the world is in a good place and we just have to make the best of it, the more your life is going to be. And there's always going to be somebody that doesn't amount to shit. Not because they had a bad life, just because they just don't have it here. They don't have it. Right. There's no drive. There's no motivation. And I've got family like that.
Yeah.
You do cool stuff. You can do the same thing. You just choose to be lazy. Period. End of story. And then you have kids that are challenged, and that's hard. And someone who's mentally challenged, that's a whole different ballgame. Then they do have a skill set. You have to find it. And if you find their motive, same with animals, you can do it. Autistic kids. We do so much with autistic kids with animals, it'll blow your mind. And when you can show them like a piano or a drum and like, cool, they're doing stuff. But when you bring another animal out that's not speaking, that's alive, that energy connection between that child and that animal is, to me, is mind blowing every time I'm involved in it. Like, I'm a pretty, rough around the edges dude, and I've seen a lot of things. But when I see that, I'm in that moment of, wow, we did something here.
We touched somebody.
Right? Yeah. There's times when they're like, hey, my son has never spoke. I've never heard him talk. I can't believe he's talking to that bird. That's real. That's happened to me on more than one occasion. And so, they started a program at one of the zoos we consulted at to bring in autistic kids for outside work. And Flavio is a very good friend of mine, works very close to me. And the cool thing about him is he's so straightforward about it. Because, when you're in the middle of it, there's a few in my family. I have an autistic nephew, and when you're in the middle of it as a parent, you're trying to do the best you can for your kid, and you want to love that kid. But when you're on the outside, right, you see things differently.
Yeah.
And so they're like, he would say stuff like, nah, you're coddling too much, and you have to let him do this. You have to let him go do this. And he would show them, here's how you plant. I want you to plant all of these in these red pots. And these kids, man, were so excited to get out there and do it and then bring it back to you and show you, look what we planted. This is so cool. The next thing they want to do the next day, what do they want to do? They want to plant those plants. They want new plants. They want to learn, because their minds just grab things so much faster than the average person, because they're not distracted. Right. So it's almost a gift to be that hyper focused, because You can actually do something that you really want to do, and you can master your craft without distraction, without noise, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, a lot of people argue that that's the new human. That's the new human coming. That's actually an advancement, not a fault. And I have a tendency to believe that.
In some
I
ways,
really do.
growing up with my sister is extremely mentally challenged. She's 53, she's 10 years older than I am, but she's always going to be a fucking super slow 12-year-old. And so I got to see that firsthand, where she didn't have the distraction. She would make these little rugs and make these trinkets, and she would draw and she would do things, and everything she did, she only did what she wanted to do, like what she liked to do, but you could see a passion. You could
Right.
see an undistracted passion in that whatever she was doing, that I always wished I could get a hold of. But when it comes to animals, my sister loved animals, but we differed on that end, because she was more of a physical, material, sensory, like kind of thing like that, where I was just abused all the time. And that's where my love of animals came from. That's why that's not the only reason, but that's why I think we connect so well, all three of us, is because we have this reverence for animals. Mine came from being an abused child. Every single direction I looked was pain, was torment, was torture, was emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. When I went outside and I just watched birds, I felt comforted. I felt like the world didn't hate me, because I could be out in this atmosphere, and all these things are just living. Not one of them was paying attention to me in any way. Not one of them hated me. They were just indifferent. Like, don't come near me because I have to protect me. But I'm more than cool with you sitting there. But the moment it all really, really sunk in for me, and this is going to play into your teaching thing, the moment, and this is 100% real story, the moment everything, my love for animals, as deep as it was, the moment that it became everything I was, it just interlaced into every part of my core, was we were at school, and we all, little tiny kids, and they gathered us in the gym, and they had a couple of, they had some animals come out. They had rabbits and stuff. And I, growing up, like, I was familiar with dogs. My buddy had a rabbit. Like, I was familiar with the normal shit, right? They had gators. Well, they brought gators out, and then I remember they brought an ostrich out, and I was intrigued. I was like, "Holy shit, this thing's really big," like,
Yeah.
and then and it came up to me, and the one thing or I should say, the two things I remember most about this thing, this time, was I when I got to touch the ostrich. And I put my hand on it, and I expected it to be kind of wiry, and I expected it to be kind of shallow. But like, I touched it, and my hand just kept sinking into the feathers.
Yep.
And I still remember, I can feel that feeling on my hand to this day, is how affected I was as a child with that animal in that gym. And the one thing that I took away above and beyond all of that is I learned one thing about ostriches that day. They were walking this ostrich across this linoleum floor in the gym, and it was sliding all over the place. It was having a problem with it. It couldn't do it.
Sure. It's not good.
And they said, because of the feet, and they were able to have it lift up one of its feet, with help, of course. They showed us its feet, and they're like, there's nothing on his feet that will allow him to grab this floor. And that was the moment I felt horrible. I felt horrible for this bird. I'm like, dude, this bird, you got him here and he can't even walk. That's terrible. Like, it's the opening up kids' eyes to the animal kingdom very early is one of the most incredibly important things that I think that we can do for the animal species entirely, is to just to preserve it and to teach appreciation for it. Because these kids, I would have never touched an ostrich. Like, I would have never done this shit if it hadn't been for these educational programs. And the educational programs can't happen unless we have these captive animals. Does that make sense?
100%. And I would never. I have cassowary and I have emu. I would never walk them on that floor. Once you break their legs, It's pretty
Yeah.
much over. That was probably not a very smart thing to do.
Well, they had 3 people helping this thing across the floor. So
It's rough. I would never. I totally understand, and I would. But again, that's. I'm sorry that they did that to it. Like because someone's going to comment on that, and I'm just saying people are going to comment. I already know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
Savage didn't know he was a kid, but yes. And then you bring me to a great point. That was how many years ago?
Oh shit! I was like 4 or 5.
Okay,
maybe.
so here's the deal. Now, all the stuff that we've done in the wildlife kingdom now, learning with animals, and all the people that have come in, Jack Hanna, Steve Irwin, all these people that have really exposed us, like them or love them, they expose you to something you didn't know.
Yeah.
All that different animal kingdom, animal planet, that type of stuff. Animals never get old, and there's an energy about them. I used to work at a place called Amazing Animals in Orlando when I was young. I was in my 20s, and they had big cats. There was this black leopard, because everybody thinks there's a black panther, no such thing. It's a black leopard. And we'll get into genetics later. That's some other show. But black leopards are really amazing. And her name was Elvira, and her and I had a really good relationship. She had attacked her owner almost to death. And instead of euthanizing the animal, they brought her there, and she had a big, over thing. But she would always come over to me, purr, and roll her head over the back for me to scratch her. And everybody like, touch her, man. She's gonna turn him. I'm like, look, I'm through the fence. I'm not doing anything stupid. And I'd already grown up with animals. That's why I try to tell people I was born into it. My family has had animals since my eyes were open, right? From macaws to horses to llamas to sloths, tortoises. I've grown up in it. That's all I've known. I'm from Florida. We do that. I remember my first introduction to crocodiles as a younger kid. And I remember this. There's a couple canals, as I became, I was a teenager, and you go back and forth, and I got to live in some other states, and we go out in the summer and visit my cousins. But there was a stretch of canal in South Florida, and these black guys would always go out there and fish. But they were cool old dudes, man. And I say black guys because they were black guys. I'm not saying it because I'm stereotyping, but they were always. It was these 2 guys. They would fish. They'd have their 5-gallon buckets. They'd be throwing their chicken feed in. They're pulling mud, and every now and then they'd get a gar. And they'd say, "Oh, y'all want to see something cool, man?" Like, all right. And you go down there, and it's not legal to do anymore. It's not legal at all. I don't condone it, but I was a kid. I was probably 15, something like that. Me and my cousin. And they're hitting this ground. Bam, bam. And here comes this fucking crocodile, dude. A crocodile. Coming up and eating, and they're throwing them fish. Like, they knew these guys, man. Like, every time they'd go out there, that croc would be around. Which is a terrible idea. I never condone feeding wildlife. You should never feed crocodiles or alligators or any of that in the wild, because you're breaking that 4th wall that should never ever be broken. And we'll get into that. But that was my first introduction to them, and I was blown away. So I would always go over, I'd be throwing bread in the water. There was a canal, a big water channel canal across the street from my house when I was real little. And I would always go over there and try to catch turtles and just play with them, and little baby alligators, which was dumb. But I was 7. And my mom would be like, "You're gonna die over there one day. Get away from that water." And I'd wait till they leave, and I'd run across. But that was my introduction to more of the extent. And I would love that crocodile, seeing that crocodile. And there's areas now in Florida where I go just to sit and look at those crocs. And if you guys go to my Instagram page, there's one of my good friends, Justin Iguata, and I were spooning like a bunch of idiots next to a crocodile nest. And you can see us, and it's Jimmy Riffle from the Gator Boys is like saying, "All right, guys, this is funny, but we're having a good time, but we understand the animals." Was it dangerous? Of course. But we know that crocodile. She's been there for years. We're not making the moves that threaten her because we understand it. I never condone it. Don't do it. There's a lot of guys that do stuff on the internet you should never do. Right? There's stuff that they do I would never do, but they're skilled. And so you have to leave it at that. And so when it comes to that type of stuff, man, learning that bridge takes me back to you. And now we've learned over all these years about okay, this animal can't do this. This is not good for it. Because it's all learning. We're at an area now where we're using science, and as much people hated AI technology, and they're putting together, they're understanding viruses. They're understanding how, zoonotic viruses work. There's just so much to wildlife and how beneficial it is to us, wiping out giant alligators to have a trophy gator is not necessarily a good thing. And the reason they're that big is because they've been evading problems, but they also regulate the what do you call it? The ecosystem, like the amount of males that come through, the breeding, it's a territory. And when you do that, you just ruin everything. You throw it all out of whack. And so we've learned that now. And so, yeah, maybe bringing an ostrich on a gym floor is never a good idea. And anyone who knows animals knows that, because it could cause a splay leg, like where it breaks out, especially if they're young. You can't fix that. Those birds have to be euthanized. It's terrible. So you know, there's a lot to that, but we've learned a lot now, and that's what I try to do. So I love the fact that you said you touched it and you can still remember what it feels like, and you
Yeah.
love animals. And
Yeah.
I think in anybody in trauma, the moral to my story is when you're sitting with any animal, I tell people too a lot of times, I like tortoises. Really, I really love tortoises. I
Me
I've
too.
I've got a really good collection of the really high end ones. I've got the giant ones that are 200 plus pounds. I've got the younger ones, that the Aldabras, that the ones that they're just awesome, and I can sit with them for hours and feed them. They'll come up. They like to get their back of their butt scratched on their shell, and they'll kind of dance for you. But you can literally watch them for hours, and your mind becomes at ease.
Yeah.
Right? My alligators, just talk with my gators and get in with to learn their name and to understand training and how they need to react and how they need to be cared for, and learning them is it's so the energy that the animals put back when they're looking at you. If you really take the time to understand it, it gets in you. It's something that you
Yeah.
cannot not remember, right?
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
you're just totally dead inside and you're a piece of shit. I mean, let's just face it.
Yeah.
So other than that, I mean, anybody who comes in contact with something like a beautiful bird or an alligator, a crocodile, a tortoise, my kangaroo, anything that you're spending time with, the energy that they portray, as long as it's a mutual good energy, it's healing, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've said as long as I could ever remember, nobody knows your energy. Nobody knows who you are better than an animal does. When you walk up to an animal, and it can be pretty much any animal. I usually
It's true. Pretty much any animal.
I'm a snake dude, so I usually remove them because they just don't have that in them. Like a snake doesn't love you, even if it's your pet. It doesn't love you. It's not looking forward to you
And
getting
there's a
home.
reason. Let me clarify the reason for that, because people, that's not true. My snake loves me. Your snake habituates to you. The snakes do not possess the chemicals in the brain that make that reaction. That chemical is not mixed in the brain. I want to be very clear on that. It's that chemical. Doesn't mean it doesn't like you or understand who you are and habituate, but the ability to love, they don't even love their young.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They hatch, they leave. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a chemical thing. It's not their fault. They're not evil. I know religion has made it that way, but they're not an evil thing. But they do connect with you.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on what Savage said. They do connect, but they don't love you. Love you is a strong term, and that gets into cerebral cortex, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and that's how my snakes all work. Like it's they.
Don't worry, I'm gonna get you some more. You don't worry about that.
We can they'll habituate to me. They understand I'm there.
I'll have some for him.
But yeah, but here's the other thing is like in a situation like that, you can't just have a reverence for an animal that has the ability to have a reverence for you. I think that's a toxic idea. Is people like, I love cats because cats can love me back. I don't love snakes because they don't love me back. Fuck
Terrible.
that. I love all of them. I respect all of them, and I give them what they need in that moment. But animals know your energy better than anybody out there. So when I've had this rule, I've always been a rule, like, if you walk in my house and my dog doesn't like you, we're going to either have a conversation or you can just leave, because there's something about you that maybe I'm blind to it. Maybe I've chosen not to see it. But if my dog doesn't like you, there's a problem here. And that actually happened once. A longtime friend, I mean, not like hang out every day kind of friend, but longtime friend came over to my apartment with a couple of dudes. My dog, Duke, was a Shar-Pei lab mix. He was my dog. Like every man has their dog in their lifetime. That was my dog. Like I will forever hold every dog to the standard that Duke was. And he was an awesome dog, loved people all over. One dude, my dude, that came over, Nick. He came over, and it's obviously not any Nicks that are around anymore. He has since passed away, but he came over to the apartment, and my dog Duke was just like, he all of a sudden did some shit I'd never seen him before. He was like walking the perimeter, whimpering, like walking the perimeter of the apartment, watching him, whimpering, squealing a little bit. And I was just like, what the fuck's going on, buddy? And I couldn't coax him out of it. Like he was just not going to have it. So I was like, dude, it's you got to go. And he's like, what, bro? I was like, yeah, you got to get the fuck out of here. I was like, dude, look what you're doing to my dog. Like something's happening here. And lo and behold, come to find out, that dude was a A1 pile of shit. We found that out a couple months later, just that quick. So yeah, if my dog doesn't like you, you got to go. Like,
God, I hope he likes me.
Oh, well, I don't have any dogs anymore. I had to put the last one down, but
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry, but man, boy, that's some tough shoes to fill right there.
But I mean, it's just, and just, but my dog, like dogs have always liked the people I hang around, like,
Sure.
because I'm an energy magnet. Like, I walk into a room, like, if we walk into a store and somebody's there, I already have your energy read. I can feel you before I even come in. I will know whether we're compatible or not immediately. And but I also choose to keep my friend circle small, like I like loyalty. I like honor. I like, reverence for animal kingdom, the animal kingdom. I like I like people that will stand up for things that can't stand up for themselves, that kind of shit. So I only surround myself with the best.
Like that reminds me of what you just said, man, about that. And that goes back to that singer I sent you the other night when he said, and I never heard it put like that, but when he said, I've held hands in the darkest nights, and I've held my word even when it hurt my pride. That is a strong. I had never heard that in my life, but motherfucker, when I heard that, I was like, I got to sit back for a minute and let that resonate.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, but I've never heard it put that way. And sometimes, man, that's what you just put is the real deal, and I understand that. I think, and that's another reason why I really like animals, man. Because they're there for you no matter what. They don't care that you have long hair. They don't care that you're tattooed or whatever your faith is or what your sexual preference is or whatever, as long as it's not children or raping. But they don't care about that. They just care about you as a person. And I think that's the connection there. And that's why I work so well with them. I'm not a people person. Anyone who truly knows me knows that I'm truly not a people person. I'll put on a persona when I have to. I like helping the kids out, teaching them about stuff because I don't want them corrupt. Because I have to protect animals, and if you don't start with the kids, the animals suffer. It's that simple.
Facts.
Because humans are just shit, right?
Yep.
We're born a shitty, greedy little thing, and we have to be steered the right ways. I don't care what they tell you. All children are liars. Every single child is a liar. And the reason that is because it's a survival technique. It's a human survival technique. It's called cloaking, right? I didn't do that. Survival. And people go, oh, my child's not a liar. Okay, listen. Some children don't lie, but they're liars. They'll hide something. It's survival, and you got to be able to direct that. And so with animals, if you got parents that are like, kicking the dog all the time, and that's going to bring you to something. I put a lot of stuff on the internet, and I get accused of a lot of things. Oh, you're trying to get Insta clicks off posting animals being abused. Listen, the last thing I'm doing is getting Insta clicks. For anyone listening, I don't give a shit about getting Insta clicks, as you put it. It has nothing to do with it. I make my money in other areas, and I don't make money on the internet. I don't do that. I do that because I want awareness. I want people who are out there digging at someone for having a pet turtle need to be digging at someone that's killing an animal for no reason, taking a torch and burning the hair off of a dog after they plummet it with a brick so they can skin it illegally, by the way, or kicking goats to death and throwing them up in the sky so their dreams and wishes come true from a country that beats the shit out of their women and children. Listen. That's what I do. And I put it up there because I want awareness. Some of the videos that are sent to me, I'm going to tell both of you, I can't even look at them. They make me so sick. I have to turn off the phone and walk and go and sit with one of my animals or pet my dog because to appreciate how lucky those animals are to be with me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, yes, of course, I've gotten mad at an animal before and I've yelled. And there's animals that I have that you have to be firm with. And you have to understand, especially primates. You don't just get them like, stop it, Frankie.
Yeah.
Don't work like that, man. Sometimes you got to put them down on the ground and you got to be like, stop it. I'm the big primate here. Cut that out. You don't hurt them.
Yeah.
But if someone, a normal person sees you doing that, putting pressure down on a primate or a lemur and saying no, and stopping them, they're like, he's abusing it. I mean, if I'm swinging around by his tail, slamming it off the wall, that's abuse.
Yeah.
But to understand, like to hold them down or like I've had my animals they'll bite me. Okay. So I was teaching one of my baby lemurs one time. He'd get mad at me. He'd bite my finger. So every time he hit my finger, I'd bite his toe. And then we'd look at each other. And he would look back at me. And then he would go to grab me again. He'd go like he was going to do it. And I'd go to his foot. I go. And then he don't bite. Because in their troops, mama does that. You fuck with mama.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take ringtails. That is a matriarch society. Men do not matter in that society.
Okay. I just learned something.
Wow.
They allow the male to be around. The babies eat first and the females, then the male. And there's one male that they'll tolerate. Other males will be expelled from the troop to build another troop. But when they're young, the mothers, they beat the shit out of those babies when those babies act up, especially if they're young and dumb. So I don't beat the shit out of them. But the moms are a lot harder than I am on the babies. But I don't have to be. It's just a thing like, wow, I don't like that's an uncomfortable feeling. That sometimes is training, right? You can't do that with an alligator. That's not going to work. Alligators are a whole different thing. They're such a logical, intelligent animal that you have to find the motive and work off that motive, and everyone's different.
Right.
Everybody's like, well, aren't crocodiles more dangerous? No. There's more alligator attacks in Florida than crocodile attacks. Yes, there's more alligators, but crocodiles, these American crocodiles, are a lot more timid, and they don't want anything to do with people. Right. Usually. It's true. And the ones alligators that attack people is because you're a jackass and you did something. One, you haven't been feeding it.
Yeah.
Or you want to go get you're coming in from, Chicago, and you want to get a picture in your kayak, and you get all the way up to it, and it's like, I can't go anywhere now. I'm stuck on the bank of the water, and it launches, and you're kicking at it. Oh my God, it jumped at me, and it turns to bite you because you're kicking it. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. And so when I get into that, training alligators is very easy to do. A lot of people make it hard. It ain't hard because the general public trains it by feeding breadcrumbs to ducks, and they see a baby gator. How cute is that? Look at that. I'll walk up to a dock, and I'll look at alligators, and I'll put my hand like this, and I'll just go like this. And if that alligator comes, I know he's been fed.
Yeah.
I already know, right? So I know that animal now has a death wish because they have to euthanize them, and that fucking sucks. I take what I can. We've got trappers that we know that are personal friends of ours. Hey, I've got this gator. I don't want to have to euthanize it. You have room? Do you know anybody? And a lot of trappers here, before they kill it, they really want to put it somewhere in a farm so it can reproduce or something, because they're already farming here, right? So we try, but these people are stupid. And so that's another thing we teach. Stop training the alligator to come to people. He's not coming to eat you. He's coming up to you because he thinks you have food.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so clear, dude, to me, but people find it hard. Or they'll go, you'll get these people that come in, and we'll be talking about alligators, and you have these wonderful children. And I'm not a big fan of kids, but every now and then you'll get some really cool kids, and they're asking questions, and you see it in their face. You're like, oh my God, I want to do this when I grow up. And I'm like, yeah, this is what you have to do. And someone goes, you hear him in the background, that's disgusting. I kill them sons of bitches and put them on the grill. And you see the little kids getting terrified. I'm like, this is not the place to talk about, and it's always some hillbilly Dorito eating, just a fat doofus. Look at me, I'm cool, tiny dick motherfucker. It always is. It's never an intelligent guy, never, or a girl, never.
Yeah,
it's always like, where'd you come from, and why have you not washed your laundry? And it looks like your hair is a matted style. Do you have cockroaches in it? Like, you can't even afford to be at this hotel to be talking to me anyways. You did something, or did you win a VIP package by calling into a radio? And they're like, holy fuck, this family tree is a stump, but we gotta run through.
Well, isn't that another reason why they like up north where there's bear and all that stuff, they tell you not to feed the bears up there because they're just going to get used to it.
You're training them. Yeah.
And I believe there's some place out in Europe where they actually have bears that like sit on the highways, and like people feed them, but then they end up getting attacked. They just kind of sit there or something like that. I don't know. I saw a video a while ago that they like literally sit on the road to like trick you into feeding them. And then they'll end up attacking or something.
I've seen
bears.
Yeah, some bears out in Europe or something like that. I saw some video about it.
Like, there was a video circulating around about how crocodiles act like they're drowning to trick people to say something. That was bullshit too. I think a lot of that is crap. I think they want you to get out of the car to feed them. If you get too close, it becomes a defensive manner. I don't think they're like, hey, let's trick them so we can kill them. I think.
Well, right.
But I'm not saying, but I mean, people will portray it that way, Dave, is what I'm saying. And they'll take it like, oh, bears are now tricking humans. I think they learn it's a familiar it's a familiar action, right? So if you're in a zoo and you go up to the crocodile pen, I tell people, if you're going to feed, rattle the lock, get them to station. I'm just hypothetically speaking what we do. Yeah. If you're not, and you're going to go in, start the weed eater first, unlock the gate. The animal goes, he ain't in here to feed, he's in here to work, and they leave you alone. So what happens is that bear learns, if they do a certain thing, or they're at the edge, or they sit there kind of like this, like you'll get out of the car and throw them food. And then people misread that and go, oh, I'm going to go take a piss selfie with it. And then they get fucked up. That's what usually happens.
Well,
that's the truth of that.
You even see people over in like Montana and shit, just like trying to get out and like go up by moose and elk and all that stuff. And they just get fucking mauled. They just get fucking mauled.
Moose like, and buffalo, dude, they are, especially in the season that they're in rut, dude. When it's breeding season, they don't give a rat's ass, dude. They'll run over a semi, dude. And these people get out like it's a thing, and then when someone gets killed, it's like, oh, the buffaloes are terrible. No, it's you. You're stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were in South Dakota. I got to tell you, I'm kind of blown away that I found out that I live in a lemur household, Because you said
That's
that
pretty funny,
the
dude.
babies eat first, and then the women, and then the men.
They control everything. They control the truth. It's a
That's
matriarch society, the ringtail lemur. Yes.
so like I mean, I run shit at my house, but my rule is children eat first, then women, then men. So if you're ever at my house, expect the kids that are there to eat first, and then the women will be eating, and then the men will serve. We all serve at the same time, but it's in that order. So it's just kind of funny that I'm in a lemur household, but
You are, man.
But when we
Ringtail
were in
savage.
Ringtail Savage.
Julian.
we went to South Dakota. Me and my wife. We took this impromptu just road trip just to get the fuck away. We had a bunch of shit going on with businesses and all this other stuff. We just needed a stress release. So we actually went out to the Badlands in South Dakota.
Love it out there. Been
And
there.
I loved it. Fuck it. We walked everywhere. We were down in there. We were touching things. And when we went out for a drive, because I'm a driver, I love to just get out and drive, blast for 6 hours and go home. But there was buffalo farms out there, and we'd be driving, and because it's all open, there's nothing there. But you'd see these fucking people that were obviously there for the Badlands State Park, and they were like, they would pull up right at all the buffalo would be at the fence line, let's just say 20 yards off of the road. They would pull right up to the fucking, on the road, right up to them and get out and get like halfway to that fence. If that buffalo wants that fence out of the way, it's out of the fucking way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I do, like, what I took a couple pictures with me with buffalo. I had at least a quarter of a mile down the road, and I had the camera up like this. I was like, look at those motherfuckers in the distance.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. You don't walk up to them. I got to tell you, man, buffalo are very unique because, years back, we do, there's a place called Reptile Gardens up there. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I highly suggest you go. If you can, go to it.
Where is it?
All right. It's in South Dakota in Rapid City.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Right across the bear country. Really cool thing. We go out there and we bring alligators to them every so many years. Terry Phillips, the guy that's the curator there, good friend of mine. Love that guy. Awesome dude. Him and his family, great. We went out there and we got stuck. We're about halfway there. We get into a blizzard. We have a hauler, a U-Haul or not U-Haul, a horse trailer full. It's filled with snow on top of the alligators. We're trying to get these alligators out of the snow, and we made it happen. But they had such a terrible snowstorm that it came so early and so fast, it broke all the trees. And if I'm not mistaken, it killed 70 to 80,000 head of cattle. That's how bad it came through. It's like, like 20 something below zeros. You can look it up. You can probably find it. Not one buffalo, dude. They fucking turn their head to the storm. They bow down. When now fucking they walk out of it. Amazing creatures, bro. Buffalo are straight up amazing. And one day I would like to have a herd of buffalo.
I worked at a place called Lester's Material Service with my dad in Grays Lake, Illinois. We were the mechanics there, and the founder of the company, the president of the company, was Steve Lester, and then Billy Lester and Lori Lester were the siblings. Mr. Lester, the dad, was the one that started it. Well, he moved out, 45 minutes away, and he started a buffalo farm. And because I found this out because I asked why the company logo was a buffalo. And that's when I grew up with buffalo lessons, at this place. And that's when I found out that buffalo are one of the only animals on earth that as soon as a storm is coming, they put their fucking head down and walk into the storm because they know that's the fastest way out of the storm. While everybody else, all the gazelle, all the elk, all the everything are running away from the storm, just spending all their energy to get fucked anyway. Buffaloes are just like, put your head down and get into
Yeah, they
it.
know. And they understand that all that barometric pressure. Again, we were filming. We were somewhere. I want to say we were up in Minnesota or something. We were somewhere up there. And Justin and I were out, and all these little box turtles started crawling up the hill. I'm like, this is kind of cool, man. What's going on? One of the locals, he's like, oh, yeah, man. You start seeing them turtles go up the hill, you're going to have a bad storm. They don't want to drown. They're getting high ground. And I'm like, this is the coolest shit ever. And the storm didn't come for a few hours, but they felt that barometric pressure change. And they're like, well, it's time to travel.
Yeah. Well,
and they got started.
When the tsunami hit in Japan and all the footage of all the animals running up the mountain, and everybody's like, why are they doing that? Because they know something we don't. So
let's start running up that mountain.
Yeah, they're programmed to know. So if you see that happen, you should probably follow them up.
Yeah, that's like exactly. When you start seeing animals act erratically, there's something going on. Yeah, people don't realize that. They don't take it because we're so suburbanized, dude, and we don't live naturally anymore. We're so anti-natural. Everything's like, oh, this or that, get a facial cream and, go to the store and buy this. This is a new Dorito flavor, it's,
Yeah.
electric guitar flavor. And they're like, oh, it's amazing to me. And I, listen, man, I'm with you. I love the animal aspect of things. I've had an extremely crazy life. Animals are a small part of it, but they're also the biggest part of it, if that makes any sense. And I love it.
Well,
I
and
love it.
that it makes complete sense. And I wanted to touch on your content that you put on Instagram and whatnot, because
Okay.
and not the cooking with Slash kind of stuff, but the brutal stuff. Because like you had said, like some of them you can't even watch. I can't even watch some of them. Like I see like the goat one was really hard when they're just flinging these goats 30 feet in the air, live goats, just I couldn't even watch it. But here's the thing is you're one of the only people that has the balls to put that shit out so people know it's happening. Everybody else, it goes back to that thing where I was like, oh, look at the baby chick. We need to raise awareness. You actually force people into an emotional spectrum that they're not used to dealing with. And
Right.
that, I think, is the biggest riser of awareness and animal abuse that we can possibly have, is just getting throat punched in the fucking heart with it. Like, this actually happens because we hear the stories. We especially here in America, everything is so good in America. I know we all bitch, and that's like, or I bitch. I do content and stuff, but the truth is that everything is so good in America, we have to create problems to bitch about. We have to create things to
Right.
feel bad about. And the things are already happened. We don't have to create them. We just gotta look. And what you do is you give people the opportunity to stop creating and start looking. You put all that horror, that horrific shit right in front of them and make them deal with that. And I think it takes balls. It takes a certain amount of two middle fingers to be able to do that because of the fucking the pushback you get. But I think that's one of the most necessary things when it comes to animal preservation moving into the future, is to make people know, like, the stories you heard, these horrific stories you've heard, these tall tales are not tall tales. They actually happen. So
Yep.
I just wanted to say thank you for actually taking the bullets,
Appreciate
taking
that.
the arrows, and putting this stuff out in front of people. Because again, you're one of the only people fucking doing this. Because the other animal guys, we're not going to name any fucking names because it's just tacky. But there are animal guys that know a lot of things about animals online, and they don't do a service for the people when it comes to the future of the animals. I'm going to rip it out of this tree and I'm going to act like I know what I'm doing. I'm going to show you, but it's really all just for Insta-clicks and views and monetization, not awareness, not education. And you take the other end of that. You don't give a fuck about clicks and views and money. You really don't. On a human level, I know you, we've spoken about this. You just don't. You care about the animals 100%. That is the only fucking goal you have when you put this stuff up, is the preservation of the animals. Because the more people we know, or we have, that know this stuff is really happening, the better chance we've got of stopping it.
Exactly. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. And what I'm going to say is, like, a lot of people are like, wow, you're going to say that? You're going to go out and cook a steak? Yep. I'm a carnivore. Will I eat alligator? Yep. I'm just not eating my alligators. There's farming. There's reasons for that. And I got to tell you, tigers eat other animals. Lions eat other animals. Bears eat other animals. Snakes eat other animals. Crocs eat other animals. It's all part of the circle of life. It's the abuse aspect I don't like.
Yes.
You don't even have, even at farms that are abusing animals, the way they take chickens and fucking slam them into boxes and kick them and stuff like that. That's unacceptable. That's not euthanizing an animal correctly for consumption. And I'm not against consumption. I'm against the abuse of it.
Right.
Not what it is. Like, these people pouring blood on themselves, like, oh my God, you're a piece of broccoli. Now there's science behind it, folks. Look it up. That plants have emotion too, and they're an energy, and they pick up on they pick up energy. So they're a living thing. So no matter how you look at it, you're eating living energy. I don't care if it doesn't have lungs or whatever. You're still eating an energy. Look at a jellyfish.
Yeah.
That's a unique living species out there. Okay, and it doesn't have eyeballs or whatever. So at the end of the day, killer whales, amazing animals, eat other animals. I saw a video that someone sent me the other day of a polar bear eating a seal while it was still alive, eating it while I was sitting there screaming. I can't watch that. That's horrible. No. But I know that that's life. And they can't say, hey, I need to bring me the firearm. I got a seal over here, Willie. Oh yeah, okay. And they shoot it and they clean it up. No, they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
With the tools that they have to do it with. And so we don't have to abuse an animal to consume it.
Right.
That's why when hunters go out, they have a high-powered rifle or they're very skilled. I have a really good friend of mine who hunts with bows, and that's what his thing is, and he's real good with it. But they do clean shot kills. They look for a specific animal. They're not taking young. They're not doing stuff wrong. Again, they're scumbags in every field.
Right.
But hunting is, and it's a lean, clean meat. Elk meat happens to be very good meat. I'm
Joe
not
Rogan
against
eats
hunting.
pretty much nothing but elk.
Elk meat's amazing, dude. I don't know if you've had it, but it's amazing.
I've only had it jerky. I've only had a lot of meat.
Let me tell you something. I one of the best places I've had it was at Kid Rock's restaurant. Their eggs, that big steak thing that they had.
Mm-hmm.
If I could live on that every day, that would be every day. I wouldn't eat anything else. That would just be what I eat. And I'm a carnivore, so I eat pure meat. But elk is not gamey. Oh my god, dude.
I gotta get
So
to the store. There's a store down by me that sells all that wild animal stuff. It's at the corner.
Definitely want elk. You get a nice elk steak, man, and do it up, dude.
It's the for you, Dave. It's the store at 173 and 45, World Market or some shit.
Yeah. I know what you're
Like a
talking
one-off
about.
place.
And you can order elk frozen in the ground elk meat online for elk burgers. I buy a lot of bison, ground bison, because I love ground bison, man. It's good for you. You know, they're farming, so you know you're putting the animal back to a good thing. And I got to tell you something. I believe in energy more than a lot of people do. And I don't do live feedings to my animals here. I buy humanely euthanized rodents and things like that for my snakes, frozen thawed CO2, which used to be go to sleep. When you torture something, you ruin the food. Yeah. That energy stays with it. And I wonder why a lot of people will eat stuff and they'll be like, I have so much anxiety about it's your food. You're the terror that goes through something, or the person doing it. I'm energy. Like if something's done very clean and pure, it's different. The consumption's different. The texture of the food you eat is different. The meat, it's all different, man. And I just think once a lot of people like to eat a lot of hog meat and stuff. If you see some of the hog farming, I don't know that you'd want to eat it. I mean, these things are eating cancerous tumors off of other hogs.
Yeah.
Into the meat, into the DNA, and then you're eating it. Man, there's a lot of shit that goes, you got to be real specific about what you do when you're eating hog.
My boss tells me stories that when he was younger. Now he grew up in a different time, but he was younger and he ended up getting having to get a job at the stockyards at the slaughterhouse. And he's like, I worked there for 3 months. His job was how
rough of a job that had to be.
He was the guy on the line. It was a cow a minute is the way the line worked. So his position on the line was he was the guy after somebody did the Y cut. He went in there with his little sharpened fucking garden spade and scooped out the gut cavity and pulled it all onto the belt. And that was his job. And he said, he's like, dude, I didn't eat meat after I quit that place. I didn't eat meat for at least 10 years. And now, even to this day, 50 years later, if you're going to cook me meat, that shit needs to be cooked all the fucking way through.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think this. Agreed. Mass consumption of meat. If you're a person that just eats mass consumption of meat just because to do it, you're not doing it right. If that's something that you specifically choose to do your diet, you need to target what you're eating, understand where you're getting it from, the farms that are raising it. Don't just go down here to the local Jimbo store and, buy a slab of beef that you don't know what you're eating. It could be fake, first of all, or it's full of hormones. Understand what you're getting. And if you're just someone that eats meat once in a while, then spend the money. Go to a place that has kosher killing, or go to a place that's a real, like the Amish, the Quakers, a true meat market where people put their time and energy. Oh, I'm sorry, we're out this month, but next month we'll have more of this. A cow a minute shit.
Yeah.
It often made me wonder about McDonald's. Okay, I know there's a lot of stuff circulating around about human meat, but
oh boy,
if you think of the amount of people that they say they feed, or the amount of people that eat at any given restaurant, McDonald's restaurant, which I don't eat at it, and I did as a kid, obviously, but any restaurant, and the amount of cattle, if you understand reproduction, there's something going on there.
Bring me home, baby. Bring me home.
Could it be humans? Yes. Could it be other fillers? Yes. Could it be synthetic stuff? Absolutely. Because it has always been different. Like there's a couple burger joints. There's a few burger joints here, that you go get a burger, like, man, that tastes like grandpa made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you go to these places and you're like, this is too perfectly cut. It's like, and hopefully it's a lot of vegetable mass and it's not human. Although I know that they've been saying they're finding human DNA in it. And that could be from a lot of things, though. You know, that could be from hair falling in there or somebody cutting themselves. I mean, there's stuff that could happen. So I don't want to go too far into conspiracy, but then again, it could also be, hey, dispose of Bobby over here, man. Throw him in the grinder.
Let me just say that McDonald's doesn't own any beef farms, but they do own several children's hospitals.
Yep. And see, sometimes you have to connect the dots. That's a whole other show.
Ouch.
But I think about animal consumption and what I have to buy, right? So I listen, I spent a good amount of money on meat products because of the animals I have. They're meat eaters. I know the price.
Yeah.
Right. And the amount that I can get and when I can get it, you know, and you have to understand the difference in supplements and things like that. And so when I think about those volumes, like those places, it's rough, dude.
Yeah.
It's rough because there's been times I've gone down to the Amish to get some food. They're like, we're fresh out, we're sold out, slaughter. But I can buy half a cow from other side of the family here, have it packaged and sent down. I can live on it a year.
Yeah.
Understand what I mean? So there's ways to do it, folks, without spending $35 for a piece of meat this big at a grocery store. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, and here's one, a real life that's actually happening right now in my household. So typically, I mean, we buy our meat from the store, like, because we don't have a lot of access to farmers. We got a lot of farmers in the area, but we just don't have the access to them. So we buy a lot of meat in the stores, and we try to really pick and choose the best cuts.
I understand.
But I recently got the opportunity to buy bulk ground beef from my boss's friend, who is a farmer. What do they call it? Ethical farmer, where it's, you know, they eat the proper shit. They don't get all the hormones and the antibiotics and all that shit. I bought 20 pounds of ground beef that is in the 90 percentile, you know, 90 something, right? No hormones, no antibiotics, none of all that shit. And me and my wife were literally just talking about it this morning, because my breakfast every single day is 5 ounces of ground beef, 3 whole eggs, and a half a cup of rice. That's what I eat every single morning, because I'm on this whole getting healthy thing. And I got a coach, and we did the blood work, and
I'd cut the rice. If I were you, buddy, cut that rice right out of there. That shit
I like
turns to
rice,
sugar.
though.
Fuck it. I do too, but fuck it.
Yeah,
Eat a pound of red meat and 6 eggs every morning and watch your body turn into Schwarzenegger.
Right. Well, this is all based on blood work.
I'm just giving you shit.
That's my breakfast every morning, and I had given her some, and she's like, let me ask you a question. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, have you noticed anything different, you know, since because we paid a little extra because I had to buy it in bulk.
Sure.
And she's like, have you noticed anything different, you know, about eating this other ground beef that we got from that farmer? And I was like, yeah, I noticed a lot of shit. My legs don't fucking hurt anymore. I have this thing when my legs, like, I've been eating this good ground beef. Now, mind you, above and beyond all, we emptied one package and then we opened another package that we had of the store-bought shit. 100% different looking fucking meat. You know, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but it is not that.
They add shit for filler, dude. Carbohydrates for filler. Yep.
But I have this thing where my legs don't fucking hurt. Like I eat shitty meat or whatever, and my legs will start getting like just fatigued.
Chemicals.
Let's say, you
Chemicals.
know? I eat this stuff and my legs feel good. My shoulders are feeling good. Like, you don't really realize how much you are affected by the meat you eat.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I would have to agree with that 100%. I mean, if you're eating shit food, you're going to feel shitty. And to touch on what you were saying, Troy, you know, energy wise, like when you traumatize the animals, just imagine that trauma is trapped. And now you're consuming it, and you wonder why.
You're 100% right, because that's why a lot of the farmers, when they changed the way the shoots were, because the adrenaline was so high and the fear was so high, a chemical, it was ruining the meat. They had to literally change the shoots so that the animals weren't aware of what was going on, because, you know, cattle make like best friends for life. I mean, they're very intelligent. It's horrible that we have to eat them, but we do. And I'm a meat eater, and I'm not going to sit there, but there's ways to do it correctly. You understand? I've got to keep specifying that, because someone's going to call me a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm a meat eater. But there's abuse, and then there's ethical. Period. Period. But I totally understand, and I get that, and I agree with him 100%. Dave, you're right. You harnessed all that into the package, and now you're eating it.
Yeah.
There's a really good company out there called Force of Nature. I don't know if you guys can locate it in your area.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, they're great. You can buy any. They're I buy the ancestral blend from them by the pound, and it's it's all organs ground up too. It's like it's just amazing stuff, man, and it's
What does it
clean,
taste like? Because
pure.
organs taste like shit. I'll be honest with you.
Not in
Organs
ground
taste
beef.
rough.
Not when you're doing ground beef. It
I
is
don't know
the
if I can
most.
do that.
It's a salty butter, and I'll throw like a slab of butter on it. It's one of the best things ever, man. And I mean, and I'm unlike that. When I tell you that I don't eat anything else, I'm going to say it on the air. I eat nothing but animal product. I do not eat anything else. Right? I used to. I'd be like, oh, I'm doing my workout. I'm gonna have some chicken and brown rice. Nothing. Once you go 60 days on pure meat and water, your body goes in past ketosis. You go through ketosis fuel, then all the animal. Then I get the fattiest steak I can find because it turns that into what I need for my energy. And I'll tell you what, it is when you eliminate carbohydrates altogether, your body changes. I can't even tell you. I got my parents, my dad, my mom, some of my friends, and they're like, dude, I cannot believe I didn't do this 8 years ago. I'm like, me neither. Because I was like, I got heavy and I'm like, dude, I feel like a pig. I was up to like 250 pounds. I'm 6'1". I was like 250 pounds. My knees hurt. I saw myself sitting down before. I'm like, God, I look like I got a fucking tire. I look like a slob, man. What happened to myself, man? And so I did it. I took 2 years ago and I went straight carnivore. I did 60 days of water and red meat, salt, eat a lot of salt and butter. Everybody's like, oh, you get good carb. That's bullshit. You're not going to have nothing. Heart attacks are caused by sweets. Get that in your head. It has nothing to do with cholesterol. None of it. Your brain is cholesterol. Your liver makes cholesterol.
They've actually just released a study they did over, I think, a course of 2 years. They studied all the longest livers and they like the longest people that lived, the people that lived the longest. They all had ultra high cholesterol. Ultra high cholesterol.
You're supposed to have it. It was a whole thing that changed the food pyramid because they wanted to be able to capitalize on selling you garbage.
Big
and they
cereal.
redid it on purpose. Exactly. 100%. I was we were talking about my girl's grandfather. He's just since passed. They would go out to the farms to get the meat. If he split the meat and he saw that the fat was yellow, he didn't want it. That means it was corn fed. Now you got a bunch of corn fed fatty garbage. And believe it or not, vegetable oil was created to feed to the farmers animals to make the animals grow fatter and healthier and was killing them. Then they refortified it, gave it to us and told us butter was bad.
Yeah.
You could talk to any of it, like I got to meet Jimmy Levy, the singer, and he said I lost all my weight with butter.
Yeah.
He eats butter everywhere he goes. I get up in the morning, bro. I cut a couple pads of butter like cheese, and I just eat it. And you know what? It works. Especially, you got to get this brand called Truly. I can eat that. I can eat the entire block. It's that good. And I throw it on everything. Salt and butter on everything. And you know what? It changed my life, dude. My energy changed. My hormones balanced a lot better. I mean, it's unbelievable what it does to you. I mean, unbelievable. I got my dad on it, and I said, don't tell your doctor. Right. And you go in there, he's like, I lost a bunch of weight, Troy. I'm like down to 175. I go, no, you look good, Dad.
Yeah.
So you're going to get your blood work because years ago, he had a heart attack because, my dad had a sweet tooth. He liked candy and shit like that. But they're like, oh, it's the cheese and the meat you're eating. And he's like, no. He finds out later it was the sugar. Now, so he goes to the doctor, he doesn't say a word. He gets his blood work. This is after he went on the carnivore diet for 6 months. They go, Bill, you're really balanced out. Where you look great. Your blood's good. He's like, hey, you are bullshit. Yeah, I eat a lot of vegetables now. I limit my intake. Bullshit, man. My dad eats red meat and salt and butter, and he's been doing it, and he looks great. He's 76. No one can believe how old he is.
Dude, I paid.
I'm telling you, it changes your life.
All right, Troy. I'm gonna have to talk to you later about this carnivore.
Call me anytime you want, buddy.
Dude,
I promise you.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll take that challenge. I'll be more than happy to do it for 60.
And
60
it's good too.
Whatever.
You can eat till you're full, bro.
I love fucking red meat. I love steak. I love all that shit. If I can get away with just eating that shit, that stuff.
Yeah, get a big cast iron skillet, a pound of red ground meat. Good stuff.
Butter, put that shit on the smoker.
Sprinkle some cheese on it if you want to, and go to town, bro. And you'll see. Don't use vegetable oils. Don't use any carbohydrates. Don't use any type of oil. If you have to use oil, use olive or coconut. That's it. Don't use anything else.
Or
anything that's a seed oil, get it out of your body. Watch how your joints stop hurting, your back stops hurting.
Avocado oil, I was told, was good too.
Which one?
Avocado
oil.
Yeah.
That's good too.
Avocado oil.
I'll eat that. But if you go on the 60 days, and anyone who's listening, if you go 60 days with just red meat and water, I know it's hard. You're going to go through ketosis, okay? It's going to feel like you have the flu about 2.5 weeks in.
Yeah.
Your cravings for junk is going to drive. You're going to be like, I want a Milky Way bar. I got to have a piece of bread. Get rid of it and watch how your body changes. And the good thing is I eat once a day. And here's the best part. You don't shit all the time. You're not farting all the time. You're not burping all the time. You're not uncomfortable. Your joints stop hurting. It's absolutely astounding what it does. And I'm a living example of it, dude.
That's what my coach said.
I live by it.
That's what my coach said. I paid my coach fucking almost $20,000. And the first
Miles
thing
told you for free how to do it.
The first thing, well, yeah,
what
yeah, but
I've
Nick
been doing
says
this a long time, dude.
Nick says the same thing, but I've got a program built for me based on blood work, not this one shoe fits everybody thing. But he told me,
I got you.
But he told me he's like the first thing you need to fucking do is eat a lot more fucking meat. He's like, a lot more fucking red meat. He's like, you're allowed, fucking one chicken breast a fucking day.
Yeah, I don't
just
eat
to
that
mix
much
this
chicken.
at. But he's like, you want fucking red meat and fry it in fucking butter. And I was like, fry it? I was like, you don't. What about grill it?
You're like, what?
He's like, fry it in fucking butter. You're not listening to me. And dude,
because without butter, here's the thing: without butter, a lot of people don't realize. Without butter, you can eat all the vegetables you want. You will not absorb You will not absorb the vitamins without it.
Right? Because you need
butter helps
fat.
your body absorb it. You need that butter.
Yeah.
Pure butter. There was a company called Truly. It's an Irish import. I know everybody knows the Kerrygold, but that's good too. But it's called Truly. I don't know if you can order it. They distribute across the United States. I buy all the time. I know it's $5 a brick, but I end up eating a brick a day sometimes. I got to be careful because it's that good.
Jesus.
I believe that.
Like when I'm telling you. And another thing you can do after your 60 days. Do you guys like honey? Do you like honey?
Yeah,
at all?
I love honey.
I have
all
honey
right.
all
So
the time.
have you ever had honey on steak?
No, but
Have
you
you
told
had
me
honey and
about
ground
it.
beef?
I need to do that.
Put honey and ground beef and tell me that you did not find the holy grail of salty meat to sweet. Then it regulates your interceptors. So that your insulin, your receptors for insulin change because you're not using glucose and or your glucose receptors change because you're not using fake sugar and stuff like that. You're using honey. So I will take honey and sprinkle it all over a steak and eat it.
Yep.
A good cooked steak. Unfucking believable, dude. Good. And get local honey to you because that'll eliminate any type of allergies you have in the area, and it also makes you immune to all the pollen.
And don't buy the bullshit organic honey. It's not a real thing. I know bee farmers that organic honey is horse shit because you can't track the bees to make sure they're only fucking eating organic flowers.
Exactly.
I got beekeeper friends that lose their ever loving shit. And they don't even know each other. All of them lose their ever loving shit when it comes to organic honey.
No, get local. There's a couple in your area. Go buy it from them because the bees that they're using are obviously traveling in their area there. And you get it local. And, I know it's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
To get it with the honeycomb to the wax. It's amazing. But, bro, I put that on red meat, and it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I can't. I mean, it breaks up. I want a salty, buttery steak. Then I want a steak with some butter and honey on it. And it's like blows you away.
Yeah.
And honey's good for you, man. I'm telling you. So, but that's after your 60-day. Put your body through a complete change, right? And I do every now and then. I'll do a 3-day fast now, so I won't eat for 3 days, and I'll just drink water, put salt in my mouth, drink water, put salt in my mouth, so I hydrate. But I will not eat. And what that does is, by the 3rd day, if you can do it 4 days, which is very hard, but if you can get 4 days, all your cells are new. It's killed every cancerous cell. And I read studies that if you can do it for 72 hours.
Yes.
You lower the chance of getting cancer by 60% for life. These are independent studies that are coming out of Sweden, out of Germany. These aren't like, big med. These are people that are putting these to the test.
Right.
Yeah, I've read
and I'm telling you right now, have your hormones checked 100%. Make sure your testosterone's way over. I don't care what they tell you, the doctor. Get a holistic doctor. Don't get one of these guys that are like, well, but I inject every 4 days. I do my blood work every 3 weeks. And I keep myself right around 950 to 1,000. It changes your entire life, dude. Your entire life. 100%. And all these new peptides coming out, I'm going to send you guys a whole bunch of stuff because
hell yeah.
I promise you, as my word, and Nick ain't kidding when he tells me that. And he is a living example of doing it. Regardless of whatever he's done in his life, he did that. And he lives by it, and it shows. So anybody who does it, your body transforms. I'm telling you, Dave, you're going to be like, Troy, why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, you're going to look at your skin and you're going to be like, my God, it looks so much younger. It's like you get all that toxic out of your body. It gets away.
Well, fucking straighten out that googly eye.
Hey, leave my Googler alone, motherfucker.
That's fucking terrible. But at the end, I didn't even know you had a googly eye, dude. I didn't even, whatever. But Thanks for him fucking around, being savage. But yeah, man, I'll help you through it. I'll walk you through it, Dave. Call me
Yeah.
whenever you want. I'll send you what to do and how much to eat. But listen, you can eat as much as you want, whenever.
I'm
Red
loving
meat when you're doing it. It's not like you're only allowed so many ounces, man. You can eat a pound. If you can get a pound down, eat it. I eat a pound a day and 6 eggs at 2 o'clock, and I don't eat before 2. I do not, and then I don't eat after 8 o'clock. So 2 o'clock, I'll have a big old pound of red meat, and I'm good, dude. I'm good. And then at night, I'll probably have a couple eggs and go to bed. That's it. And my body is different. I'm telling you guys, it works. I've lived it now since 2024.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
all my
facts.
blood work comes in good. It's
mean,
good. And
I've got an elite performance coach in my fucking pocket, and he says the exact
and
same
he's
thing.
telling you that, right? And I just did it because I said, you know what? I'm tired of this. I cut out and I cut out soda, so everything I drink is water. Every now and then, if you're out and about and you want to have something, I have it. You know what I'm saying? But not during the 60 days. You have to reprogram yourself. I'm telling anybody who wants that challenge, man. I'll break it down, but I'll send it to you, Dave. And it's amazing, dude. It's just 60 days.
Yeah.
I got my mom to do it, and she's like, "You saved my life. I can actually get up now." My mom spent a lot of time taking care of my grandfather as he got older. He was in a wheelchair, and he was a big dude, not like a big fat slob, just a bigger guy. My mom's a smaller person, and she hurt her legs and beat up her knees and her joints, and she was consuming a lot of vegetable oil stuff, eating a lot of potato chips, and just trying to survive. I got to take care of him. I got to eat it. And she's like, "I'm having a hard time with this," and I got her on it. And then she was like, "Oh my God, this is so tough." She got through 2 weeks. Now she's like, "I don't drink soda anymore." She has steak every night. She'll have some salmon now, no vegetables. And she's like, "I can walk." She's thin. She got real thin. I mean, my mom was never fat, but she got really thin, like where her body looked like it was performing and the way it should. She looked younger. I'm like, "See, it works." And she said, "I think you saved my life because I'm not sure if I'd still be here." I was giving up.
That's
now
awesome.
My mom is 72 years old and she runs around like she's 40. So at the end of the day, man, it's all in diet. And I couldn't believe it. And it was all because I started really researching the science behind it. I had a really good homeopathic nurse practitioner that was helping me with my hormone levels. And I started reading the food and the diet and the way to go. And then we got into peptides and understanding that. And it changes your life. The way you want to do it. You don't want to be a...
Peptides.
And then once you get through all that, then you're out with your wife, right? You're like, "Hey, I'd like to have a piece of cheesecake." It's okay, but you're going to shit your pants if you don't get to the bathroom pretty quick. It's good, but your body's like, "What the fuck is that?" The anchor down. Like, you better be over the water because that's how it flies. And you'll notice it, man. Once you get that shit out of your body, and you even have like a couple potato chips, you're fucking sick.
Yep.
Then you realize how conditioned to being poisoned you were.
I had M&Ms, so I had to do a 10-day cleanse, which is in order to start this plan that plan that I was doing or I'm doing.
Right.
I had to do a 10-day cleanse, and then he's like, "Well, he's like, I'm not seeing," because I had to give him readings every single morning. Like, here's my Omron readings. This is my percentages. This percentages of all this, and that, and the other thing.
Right.
My weight, everything. He's like, "I'm not seeing what I want to see. We're going to do another 10 days, dude." I did 20 days of cleansing per his diet, and I had a handful of M&Ms at the end of that. I was like, "Fucking hell yeah, dude. I made the 20 days because I'm a food addict, so it was like a huge thing. And I fucking had a handful of M&Ms. I shit like a fucking goose for 2 days.
Yeah, bro. Because it's full of poison, man. You just don't realize it.
I was
when I first
astounded.
started watching you, Savage, on your
I'll be
show.
right back.
Yeah, bud. When I first started watching you, you've lost a lot of weight from when I first saw you.
Yeah. I'm working. You have.
And even now to this day, you look super thin. And I'm
cranking. And you know what? I was doing real. So I actually I'm 280, right? I got down to 238 a couple of years ago. But the problem is I didn't do it healthy at all. I woke up every morning and I had a Metrix Big Colossal bar, which was a meal replacement bar, protein bar. Which is 100% stacked chemicals. And then for lunch, I would have 2 pieces of white bread and 2 pieces of lunch meat. And that was it. And then dinner, I would have a half of serving of whatever the fuck my wife cooked. That's how I did it. But I was getting to the point where I could barely walk.
You
Like I
hated life.
was looking better, thin wise. I was losing my color. I was losing muscle definition, losing muscle. I was getting to the point where I couldn't fucking walk, but I was so desperate to lose the weight. Now I'm fucking like, I'm not 238, but I look a lot healthier at 280 than I did at 238. I'm not yellow anymore. I can walk fine,
Yep.
It's a really incredible difference when you lose the weight and you change your life for the better in healthy ways, as opposed to just get the weight off me. You know what I mean?
Correct. And and you were just eating different stacks of poison to lose what you were losing. The fact is you were putting less in and more out. And that's what you did it, but you weren't healthy. But isn't it funny how you could have went to the carnivore diet and ate 4 pounds of red meat a day and still fucking drop weight like a fucking, and I weigh 220 right now and I'm good at that. And that's because I dropped down to 211. Then I went back to the gym and I put on my muscle mass back up again. I brought up and that's what I'm balancing and I'm staying at that. At my weight, I'm good. I'm good at that weight. But it works, man. I'm just telling you right now. I'm excited because I'd love to see you change. And Dave's like, oh, it's fucking awesome. I'd love it because I think I love it, dude.
Dave's recently gotten back on his fucking his meal prepping and all that shit. So commendations there. So
you're just red meated up, dude. Do the 60 days and just spring water. Just buy spring water or well, whatever you have, and just do the meat. I know it gets monotonous. It's gonna get. But you like meat. I love it too. So I cook it anyways. Throw some butter in there, man. Whatever you want. Salt, make a whole fucking bunch. And if you want to crack some eggs in it too, man, do that. Add a little honey. But just do that and drink water and watch. By the second week, dude, you're gonna go through ketosis. You're gonna be like a drug addict that wants his heroin because that's the feeling you get. You're gonna have some body pains. You're gonna go through withdrawals. You're gonna have a little bit of night sweats, but it only lasts a couple days. And it's once you're through it, your body's like, okay, we're done. Then your body goes, okay, I need to take this fat and turn it into this. I need to turn this to energy. This is this. It starts working.
You feel like a champion.
You're looking in. You're like, you start looking at your arms like, oh my god, my definite. I can't believe this. And then you're like, holy shit. People go, are you sick, Dave? Are you sick? And you're like, no, because it works that quick.
Yeah,
I'm down.
You just have to stick to it. And you seem like a guy that's got motivation. A lot of people come to me and ask.
Well,
and then they give in, and they're like, oh, it hurts too bad. They give in 2 weeks. I'm like, don't do that.
I used to weigh over 400 pounds. And
you don't look like that now, so congratulations to you.
I lost a lot of weight, working out, eating, doing the meal preps, and I kept the weight off until I got into the management position where I'm not being as physical as I used to be, and all that stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm done with this. And then of course going to the doctor, and then like, oh, your blood pressure is a little too high. We want to put you on medicine, and I'm very much against pharmaceuticals.
I am too.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to take that blood pressure medication. So I try to do things more holistically, more natural and all that stuff to get those things lowered. But if going to that carnivore diet is in fact that good, which, it is.
I'll send you research. You can read all the paper stuff. I never want to steer somebody away from anything, but I'm just telling you, research it if you want. One of my friends was diabetic. He no longer has to inject.
Yep.
That's a fact.
I'm the first person in my dad's side of the family that has blood work that shows 0 signs of diabetes. First fucking person in my dad's side of the family for generations.
Yeah, and that, because of your diet, it'll stop it completely. It's a game. Being against Big Farm and all that FDA shit, you're absolutely right. It's a game.
Well, see, I have 3 months. In June, I have to go back to my doctor, and that's when he's going to probably want to try to put me on blood pressure medication. So if I can reverse all of that and go back in there and be like, oh yeah, your blood pressure is down, this, that, you're fine. And like, what have you done? What have you changed? I'll just tell him flat out, be like, eating red meat.
I just don't do anything the government tells me to do.
Yeah,
that's it.
And a lot of times, man, when you go to like a doctor, you got to remember doctors, they'll be your best friend, but just remember this. And there's probably some listening, they're gonna be like, fuck you, Troy, but listen, they own a business, they have to push.
Oh yeah.
Right? They got to say, well, I'm going to have to put you on Lipitor because your cholesterol's a little higher than 125. And you're like, yeah, go fuck off. I'll keep my 300. It's fine. So you just have to have the balls to do that because it's in our brains, right? That we're told this thing, but your blood pressure and all that will change. I drink no caffeine. I take in none, no caffeine at all. I don't do none of it.
That's
my
I know, but it's the greatest thing ever. I take it out because that will raise your blood pressure so fucking fast, dude.
Right here. I drink these like sometimes a little too
But I mean,
much.
your blood pressure will be skyrocketing on that stuff. And then look at the other chemicals that they have in it. Benzoate. What is it? There's another thing that they put in there. It's Red Bull's notorious for it too.
Taurine.
Formaldehyde.
Taurine is the
Taurine.
big deal, and formaldehyde, like in the Celsius or whatever, and
Yep.
part of whatever that other poison was they found in that stuff.
Strychnine and
Yes,
cyanide and
yeah,
fucking-
because
yeah,
it's all in there. But right, and it's the legal limit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ain't trusting the FDA. They're
Yeah.
paid. They're back paid. So you.
Yeah.
But I just cut it out. I started getting a reaction once I did this diet. I started getting a bad reaction to caffeine. Like I would get nauseated and feel like I was having a severe panic attack. So I just quit it, and I haven't had it since. And I've never noticed the difference of not having it.
It's awesome.
I swear to you. I'm telling you, I wish I could say this to everybody. Like it really is a happening thing, and you get it in your head. And once you get past that part, it's really us, man. It's really in your head. Like I mean, Savage is doing it. He'll tell you, I got to do this, this, and this, and he's sticking with it, and it's working. So, but if you try it, Dave, and I'll walk you through. You tell me. I'm even going to teach you how to make a full carnivore pizza. I'll teach you how to make the dough out of meat, and you can put cheese on it,
I
pepperoni,
want that
whatever you
lesson.
want.
I want
I'm
that
gonna send it
lesson.
to you. It is the best thing I've ever done. Just make sure you have a big blender so you can really like. I have a KitchenAid. I love that thing. It's got the grind everything in it, but I'll teach you how to make. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. It's done in 20 minutes. You can cut it out. Now you got a pure carnivore pizza, and you can eat it all fucking day.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you
dude,
need
I'm
to
in.
teach me that because my wife loves pizza. That's one of her, because my wife's autistic, and that's one of her safe foods. If she can't think of anything else, is pizza. So if I can do that, beautiful.
It will be dough free. Obviously, there's a little
that's
bit
fine.
different taste, but it is like.
I'm in.
Let me tell you something. It's out of chicken meat. You make it out of chicken meat, and you how you add this, and you add the eggs for this, and you put it in, you bake it, then you bring it out, put the cheese on it, put it back in for like 5 minutes, melt everything down, and then roll it out, dude. It's the best thing ever.
Oh, man.
See, not only on this show today have we learned about animals and stuff. we completely went the other way and started talking about one of the best scenes that can probably save many people's lives.
That's good, and we can do it. And there's a two-way. I'm saying two versions. One will the whole crust will be made out of cheese, and it's actually makes a crust. I'll teach you how to do that, and then the pure carnivore one. I'll show you how to do it all. I'll walk you through it. I will hook you up, dude. You can eat as much as you want.
Yeah,
you're making me hungry, Troy.
I know that's what I'm like. I'm gonna go eat as much as you want. I'm up to. Like I tell you, I eat a pound of meat, or red meat in a day, like 1 full pound. I just cook it, eat it with 6 eggs, and I'm done. I'm not. The best part I can't stand about other food is when you bloat.
Yeah,
and your whole stomach sticks out, and you feel like this big bloated hog.
It's not about can't bend over.
Fat. Right. It's not about a little extra fat hanging on you, or extra skin or whatever. It's just that hard, uncomfortable, where you're trying to pull your pants up, and your belly keeps pushing them down. Like, get off. So like my pants are falling off. It's hanging on my dick now because I'm a big egg. And it cuts that out. So you'll eat like a pound of red meat, and you're like, I'm not even bloated, and my stomach is flat. What the fuck's going on?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what you do, man. I think we got it. I think we've had a great show, and I really glad being on with you guys.
Our hour show just became a 2-hour show.
Hey, that's okay. I love it, dude. I had a great
dude.
time with you guys.
Man. Let's get to wrapping this up. That was a fucking hell of a show. Thanks, Troy, for being here, dude. I really appreciate the time and the information and the energy and all that shit. I love you, dude.
Absolutely. Same to you, man. I love you guys.
Dave, let them know where they can find you.
All right, man. Y'all can find me on social media. I'm heavily active over on Facebook and Instagram at The Hammer Drops. Don't forget to follow, like, and share the content. Also, if you want to get in touch with me, email me at david@thehammerdrops.com. That is the best way to get a hold of me. I hate checking DMs.
Mr. Troy Lillie, thank you for being here. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you one more time?
The Motley Croc Show is where I'm most active. That's on Instagram. It's the Motley Croc Show. You can also find me at Troy Lillie on Facebook. I do a lot of stuff there. And if you want to watch me on TV, you can go to Discovery, Amazon, whatever you stream, and look for Lost Monster Files. It's a great show. We go out there looking for monsters, and we find animals, and it's a fun thing. And Cliff, we have something new coming out soon, so got to keep your eye out for that too.
We do have something new coming out soon. Yeah. Oh, guys, we're going to end it on that cliffhanger. If you want to help me out, get these words out, get these truths out, you can follow me at Savagely Loud on Instagram is where I'm most active. And on that page, you're going to find 2 links. One of those links is to the Savagely Loud podcast page. If you could please follow us there too, it would greatly help improve the footprint of the show. The other link you're going to find is a simple link tree. Anywhere you want to hear my bullshit or see my rants, you can find it there easy peasy. Outside of that, Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe. And last but not least, you can email me in at savagelyloud@gmail.com. I will also convey messages to Dave if you would like me to do so. And don't forget to like, comment, share the material, rate and review the shows. It really does help. Now, That all being said, all the housekeeping being done and over with, you know what time it is. It's time to remind ourselves that humanity still exists within some humans with a little segment I like to call Hopelessly Human. It starts a little bit like...
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
Yes. Some are very hopelessly human, and this one's no different. This one comes to you from livealtitude.com. The heading is Mark the Poor Orphan. Mark was an orphan who lived in a small village. He was very poor and could not afford to go to school. One day, a kind man from the city came to the village and saw Mark. He was moved by the boy's situation and decided to pay for his school fees. The man told Mark that he believed in him and that he was sure that he would achieve great things in the future. Mark was grateful to the man and promised to do his best in school. True to his word, Mark worked hard and became one of the top students in his class. He went on to get a scholarship and study at a prestigious university. After graduation, he became a successful businessman and gave back to the community by helping to build schools and private scholarships for other children in need. Mark never forgot the kind of man who believed in him and helped him get where he is today. He always says that it was the man's faith in him that made him the success he is today, and he wanted to pay that forward. That's Hopelessly Human. That's the show. Later, guys.